I discovered the Dragon Prayer Book completely by chance. I was a new hire at Northeastern. I came down to the archives and asked the archivist if she could show me everything that was made before 1600. Finally, she came out cradling in her hands this tiny book, and she was shaking her head and she said, "I don't know what this is. I don't know where it came from." It had this aura around it.
So when you open the prayer book, the first thing that greets you is this massive letter R with a dragon. And that's why it's called the Dragon Prayer Book. We don't know why it's a dragon on the first page of prayers. That's one of the biggest mysteries. We started with transcription, so it's difficult to decipher certain letters in the book because the scribes were trying to save space. By pushing some letters together, if there's a D next to an E, using the backbone of the D to construct the E. Parchment was really expensive. Ink was too.
Reading the Latin in the Dragon Prayer Book is difficult because all the letters look pretty similar. They're all in a Gothic bookhand in which the basic letter is the letter I, and every letter seems to be made out of a letter I. Everything about the prayer book is abbreviated. Not only the words, but the prayers themselves and the music are only partial.
It took us 2 months to figure out one word in the book. Once we had those first couple of words, we started to realize what the letter forms actually were, that A was actually C.
We had deciphered a couple of words. We typed it into Google.
We found out that it was a standard prayer.
And we both had this moment of epiphany, like we'd cracked the code, if you will.
My role with the project has primarily been chemical and biological analyses, seeing what is physically left on the book and finding ways for us to analyze that to find where and when it could have come from.
In this particular case, we were looking to identify the source of the pages in the book. So each skin has got a different protein makeup. By analyzing the protein, we can tell whether it's from a cow or from a sheep, etc.
So we have a particular piece of equipment called X-ray fluorescence spectrometer. We were able to look at the two different colored pigments, the blue and the red, and also the inks.
We later found out the pages are made of cow skin and they're covered in this beautiful Latin and German writing, mostly written in a black or brown ink, which was made of oak gall. It's kind of a parasite that forms on a tree. It also has red ink, which is made of vermilion. It's toxic because it contains mercury.
It's got colored tabs, which are animal skin to mark the pages of the most important prayers. The Dragon Prayer Book has end pages which were added in that contain a watermark with the keys of the city of Regensburg, which places it in southern Germany.
One of the biggest discoveries I made on this project was dating this book. There's a small note in the margins someone had wrote in Latin of Siena next to one of the St. Catherine's. I went through that litany of saints and I was looking up when they were canonized. And that's when I realized that St. Catherine was canonized most recently in 1461. We know then that it's most likely that the book was created after 1461. And that's how we dated the book.
We know that it was created for a nun or nuns, most likely the nuns living at St. Catherine's Convent near Nuremberg.
When we started, there were essentially no records, and that's been a really large part of this project, has been creating as much of a record about it as we can from many different angles, from many different disciplines.
So many mysteries left. First, we are still very much in the process of transcribing the prayers.
We still don't know how the book got to Northeastern. It was at Northeastern in the 1970s, but how long did they have it before then? Who gave it to them? How did they get it?
There's just no replacement for a book like this. It's unique in the world, and that's something that we need to treasure.